And now for the latest Twitter literary scandal. A author recently published this tweet, happened to be in Target again and decided to check in on the fantasy section. Unlike last year, any male-centric fantasy is nowhere in sight. It's all chick lit and book talk slop. Modern publishing hates male readers. There is a lot to unpack here. First of all, one of the reasons Target is successful is that they place a premium on their shelf space. They don't let just anybody put their product into Target. They like to make very, very sure that the product will sell and in large quantities. And right now, romantasy is hot. So if they've got limited shelf space for books, they're going to put the product which they have the most certainty is going to sell. Is romantasy cannibalizing the fantasy section or the romance section? This gentleman seems to feel it was cannibalizing the fantasy section, and he's probably correct in that. I suspect if he walked around the corner to the mystery suspense section, he would see that was dominated by male writers. Why cater to female readers? Why is this so big? For decades, it's been true that romance novels were 50% of the book market. Half the books sold in America have been romance novels. It has always been hot. And that is because women who read the romance novels tend to read a lot. I remember as a teenager going to the old B. Dalton bookstore, and the woman ahead of me had probably between 25 to 30 books that she was buying, all romance. And I learned that she came in every month and bought every new romance that was in the bookstore, and she chewed through all of them. I've also been told that most Americans tend to buy one book a year. It's the big summer blockbuster for their beach read. That's usually a more suspensey sort of story written by a man. Now, the argument that's been going on in Twitter is that men should read women's books. Should they? People should read the books they want to read. And I don't think it's about men not wanting to read female protagonists, as some people have argued. Men clearly love a great female protagonist in a story that appeals to men. The Alien movies with Sigourney Weaver playing Ripley is a classic example of that. Nobody said, "Ew, I'm not going to go see a woman protagonist in Alien." They love the story, they love Ripley. It's all about the story. Does the story appeal to men? Classic romance novels are written through the female gaze, which I imagine is just as weird for men to read, or many men to read, as reading a book written through the male gaze is for women. People should be able to read what they want, and I want to see books for men. And I think this is why the rise of independent publishing is fantastic for men and for women and for anybody who just wants to read something a little bit different, because there is a lot of groupthink in publishing. There's a lot of groupthink in the movies. This is why we've been inundated with superhero movies. It's being driven by the bottom line and social factors. And if you want to write something different, you have to go outside the mainstream and you have to self-publish. That's just the way it is. And that's the way it's going to have to be. And I don't like it particularly either, but there's nothing I can do about it aside from keep publishing my books my own way through my authors cooperative, which I should say is entirely women. I love them all. They're great. I love Mysterio Press. And I think if a man wanted to join, there would be no problem with that if he was a mystery writer. So if you're a male mystery writer looking for a authors cooperative, you may want to give us a try if you don't mind being around all of us women. Yes, publishing has become feminized. It's just a fact. Everybody I've interacted with at my traditional publisher is a woman. Even in my authors cooperative, as I mentioned, it is all women. And is it a good thing? Personally, I think men and women are at their best when there's a balance between the sexes. So I'm suspicious of it. I'm suspicious when an industry is dominated by one sex or the other. But I do think it is still driven by the bottom line. Publishing has always been a balance between art and commerce, and I think commerce tends to win, especially now. But there's nothing I can do about it, so I am heavily indie publishing.